I've not seen such bravery.
Christmas is just around the corner, so that means it's time to watch all of your favorite Christmas movies. Elf, Christmas Vacation, A Christmas Story, not to mention all the awesome Christmas TV specials. We may have Christmas TV shows, movies, and music, but what about video games? I mean, I know that there are winter or Christmas themed levels in some games, but when was the last time you sat down and played a game just for Christmas? Well, today we're gonna change all that, so join me in a new Christmas tradition of playing The Polar Express.
The Polar Express is a game that's based on a movie that's based on a book. The book is a Christmas classic about a boy boarding a magical train to go see Santa. 19 years after the book came out, someone over in Hollywood land decided that it would be a good idea to bring the Polar Express to the silver screen with this monstrosity. So enough about the book and the movie, let's talk about the game. This is one of those movie-based games that uses footage from the actual film as cutscenes sometimes. And in an effort to avoid copyright complications, I'm just going to stick with showing the actual in-game cutscenes instead of the ones from the film, so just bear with me a bit. Falling in line with the film and the book, most of the characters aren't named, so I guess I'm allowed to just call the characters whatever I want. The main character is credited as Hero Boy, so let's just call him Geraldo. Yeah, that sounds right. So Geraldo boards a magical train, no questions asked, and finds out that they're going to the North Pole. Then this evil puppet talks about how he hates Santa, and that kids are the only ones silly enough to believe in Santa, and that they won't believe in Santa if they don't get to see Santa, and they won't be able to see Santa if they don't have their tickets to the Polar Express. Santa! Before the conductor checks the children's tickets, the puppet steals some of them and it becomes Geraldo's job to find them. This begins the first part of the game, which takes place on the inside of the train. Each train car houses a mini-game, which usually rewards us with either a key or a ticket when we beat it. The games range from searching through boxes, to kicking soccer balls, to food fights. This is your health meter up here, and as far as I know, there's no way to replenish it until one of the last levels in the game. You can, however, get an extra continue if you collect 20 coins. What? Speak up. I can't hear you. Hello?
I bet this is what it sounds like inside Thomas's head. Yeah, like motherfucker.
Well, apparently Geraldo is off to pull the train's emergency brake. Now, I'm not sure exactly why he wants to do that, but I'm pretty sure I'd want to get off this creepy train too. Then again, maybe he should have thought about that before boarding the train in the first place. But everybody knows, Geraldo gonna do what Geraldo gonna do did. To get to the emergency brake, we have to play another soccer game. The fact that all of these games take place inside a train car results in a really cramped feeling. It's like I'm playing a game in a really long, narrow hallway. Lucky for us, the entire game doesn't take place in the train. Geraldo spends some more time searching for golden tickets. He goes through the train cards doing things like playing a game of tennis and sneaking around a kitchen to avoid a chef. It makes me wonder why these kids need tickets in the first place. From what I understand, the Polar Express goes by and picks up specific children when it's their time to make the voyage to see Santa. It's basically a good old-fashioned Christmas kidnapping, only if you lose your ticket, you get thrown off of a train. Speaking of getting thrown off of a train, Geraldo isn't able to find little no-name girl here's ticket before the conductor comes by to check for them, so she's taken up to the roof of the train. I'm not sure why she's being taken up there, or why the conductor isn't, I don't know, conducting, but Geraldo finds her ticket and climbs atop the train to chase them down. This is giving me flashbacks to the train level in Uncharted 2. It's basically the same idea, but the big difference here is that even though he's running into bridges, lights, and wires, going at speeds of train miles an hour, Geraldo just keeps getting up and going for it instead of dying like Nathan Drake would. Advantage, Geraldo. This specific part of the game seems to take the longest, and no matter how hard I tried, I never seemed to make any progress. But eventually a cutscene just kicks in, and Geraldo comes upon a hobo. And of course, the only logical move after meeting a magical train-top hobo is to hop on his back, let him don his holiday skis, and jump off the moving train. While this situation is completely ridiculous, even as far as the rest of the story goes, this is probably the best part of the game. Now, Geraldo's no
Ricky Winterboard.
Don't get me wrong, but at least I was able to have a little fun with it. Somehow we end up going from this to the engine room, where our little friend has been put to work turning knobs, I guess. Two train engineers show up, and before you can say, "Let's go!" Geraldo is forced to dodge boulders and catch parts that are flying out of the engine. You know, typical train situations. Apparently the train has stopped, so once all the parts are collected, it's time to get that train moving again.
Let's get this train moving.
No time back.
Oh god, please no.
Up, down, left, right. Up, down, left, right. Up, down, left, right.
I'm trying. I don't understand. I'm trying.
Oops.
I'm trying.
It turns out that, for no reason whatsoever, the D-pad has to be used to complete this abomination of a minigame. It's as basic as a rhythm game can get, but it drags on for what seems like hours. And I know there's a joke to be made about two creepy grown men shoveling coal with a little boy, but I just can't think of it. Well, I mean, except for the obvious one. So after that, it's on to the next section of the game. Back to the inside of the train, where Geraldo is leading this little girl through the most ridiculous train layout ever. Like, seriously, this has to be in like the top 5 most inefficient magical trains to the North Pole ever. I'm bold enough to make that statement.
This is one of those moments where I get to just sit back and really take in the quality of game that I'm playing.
Geraldo is just floating around these boxes. It looks like his robe must be magical or something. Oh look, there he goes!
This way. Whee!
After making it through a few more frustratingly bad puzzles in the train, it's time to fight that one Santa puppet. The fight is ridiculously easy, but that doesn't stop the other kids from helping Geraldo out anyway.
Try throwing him into his mouth. Be careful. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out for his arms. Watch out. Be careful. Aim for his heart.
I just find it so hard to believe that there was a point during production where there was a guy saying, yeah, you know that part where the kids are yelling instructions at you? Well, they should just keep doing it over and over and over. It'll be my best work ever. My best work ever.
As you can see, we have a lot of thirsty passengers, but we're short one waiter.
Oh no, you guys. The train is short one waiter.
Well, you know what that means.
Up, down, left, spin.
I'm guessing that this is how they celebrate Christmas in hell.
Spin.
Now we're suddenly going down a train track, and Geraldo is showing all these holly jolly jackasses how to drive. Boom! These guys can jingle all the way to the hospital. Christmas jokes. If it's not already obvious, this is about where I lost touch with the story. Suddenly we're in a tube system spinning around to match colors for whatever reason. Because what kid hasn't had this Christmas fantasy? After the tubes, Geraldo and friend are suddenly in this present factory, I guess, and they're trying to chase down this kid because Christmas. I don't know. You can pull switches to change the conveyor belt direction, which gives the illusion of this having puzzle elements, but really it's just a matter of pulling any switches you come across. Once the runaway child is apprehended, the three end up near a mountain of presents. What's the logical thing to do in this situation, you ask? Why, climb up to the top, of course. How come some presents are fine to touch, but others hurt you? Is there some kind of deep philosophical reason? Like maybe the jumping presents are supposed to symbolize greed, or maybe this is just not a very good game. The most difficult part about this section of the game is that if you fall, you're going a long, long way down, and the only option is to just start again. I feel like this would be a good time for Geraldo to use his magical coat of levitation, but that doesn't appear to be an option. After scaling the mountain of presents, we appear in this blimp thing. Apparently this guy at the wheel just doesn't know how to fly the damn thing. So it's up to Geraldo again. This is one of the more frustrating parts of the game. You have to make sure not to hit Santa's totally non-suggestive dangling sack against anything. Fair enough, but if you do run this blimp into anything, half of the time the ship gets stuck. But that's okay, why make a fair game anyway? The inspirational music is enough to let me know that I'm close to the end. I'll have saved Christmas and I'll get to meet the one and only Santa Claus.
Well done, young man. I salute you.
Hey, welcome back. You made it. You saved the day.
Could you have made the ride any more bumpy?
That kid is me.
The game ends with another cutscene from the movie. Basically, the kids just climb down and watch Santa leave. Nobody gets to meet him or anything, Santa just flies off, and I guess the kids get to look forward to a long train ride home. Kinda depressing if you ask me.
The Polar Express. How do I conclude this review? It's a children's game, obviously. The story would have made more sense if I had watched the film, and it seems like the two are meant to go hand in hand. You know, you set all the kids around the TV to watch the movie, then after the film is over, you throw the game at them so you don't have to deal with them anymore. You know, the true spirit of Christmas. There are things I obviously didn't like about the game, but for the most part it was just so average. The graphics were average, the controls were average, the music was average, the gameplay was average. Nothing really stood out. But as far as kids games go, it could have been a lot worse. At the end of the day, I think I'll have to search a bit harder for a Christmas game to become a yearly tradition for me, if there's even one out there, but I'm pretty sure the Polar Express isn't it.
Well, I hope this Christmassy episode has brought everyone some holiday cheer. I'd like to thank you all for the support you've shown me over this past year, and I hope that everyone's Christmas wishes come true, no matter what your take on the holiday. I have one last thing to say as the end to my video draws nigh. Merry Christmas to all, and to all... Okay... Bye.